Purposely. Your life, God's purpose. Listen at purposely.com.
So let me know if you relate, but this happens way too often. I give in too easily. There are things that I should have a clear boundary about, whether it's telling my kids no to extra sugar or screen time, avoiding social media that makes my head spin, or saying no to an extra responsibility that I just can't handle. That's exactly why God gives us the Spirit. An internal compass with a direct line to God who thankfully doesn't shame us when we get it wrong. But boy, do we see the consequences of giving in sometimes. Hey, it's Jen. This is the Bible for Busy People podcast, and this is a reminder that sometimes we give in too easily and we get the consequences of it. Israel begged God for a king, and God kept saying no. God sent prophets and judges to guide his people, but they refused to back down. They wanted to be like the nations around them. They were rejecting God's leadership and following the patterns of the world. They gave in. They wanted military power. They were falling for the lie that empire and control are better. We see it in 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 6. It says, "But when they said, 'Give us a king to lead us,' this displeased Samuel, so he prayed to the Lord. And the Lord told him, 'Listen to all that the people are saying to you. It is not you they have rejected, but they have rejected me as their king. As they have done from the day I brought them up out of Egypt until this day, forsaking me and serving other gods, so they are doing to you. Now listen to them, but warn them solemnly and let them know what the king who will reign over them will claim as his rights.'" And Samuel tells them that the king is going to end up taking the best for themselves. He's going to take people as his servants. He is going to demand the best of everything. He is basically going to end up pushing them to cry out to God for relief from the king. And the Lord will not answer you, is what it says at the very end in verse 18. In verse 19, it says, "But the people refused to listen to Samuel. 'No,' they said, 'we want a king over us. Then we will be like all the other nations with a king to lead us and to go out before us and fight our battles.'" Samuel warned the people that the king they wanted to serve and protect them would actually end up serving and protecting himself, taking people and goods to satisfy his own needs. And that's exactly what happened. The kings that Israel demanded brought more trouble on Israel. We see this carry on for generations and generations. There are some good, God-honoring kings, but there are many who rejected God and went their own way. In one instance, it was a power-hungry queen who caused the destruction. An honorable princess defied her, and that led to a faithful king on the throne. In 2 Kings 11, verse 1, it says, "When Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw that her son was dead, she proceeded to destroy the whole royal family. But Jehosheba, the daughter of King Jehoram and sister of Ahaziah, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him away from among the royal princes who were about to be murdered. She put him and his nurse in a bedroom to hide him from Athaliah, so he was not killed. He remained hidden with his nurse at the temple of the Lord for 6 years, while Athaliah ruled the land." So Athaliah brought chaos and destruction. Jehosheba had the courage to hide Joash for 6 years. I mean, small children make noise. The palace was marked by chaos. How did they do this for 6 years? I think about the movie The Quiet Place, where the woman has a baby and then hides the baby from these noise-seeking aliens. I don't know how to explain that movie, but I don't know how she did it, how she had a baby without noise and then hid the baby for years. So they hid until Jehoiada, the priest, sets a plan in motion to make 7-year-old Joash king, removing the queen and setting up the kingdom in such a way that Joash is raised to follow God. In the rest of his story, we see that Joash, raised under the guidance of Jehoiada, and we assume Jehosheba too, to be a king who is faithful to God. He even repaired the temple of the Lord. Sometimes it takes defying the status quo to further God's good purpose. There's also a woman named Huldah who had the courage to tell the king the absolute truth. She worked with another king who sat on the throne at a young age 8, and grew up to be an honorable king. It should be noted that he was raised by a faithful mother who taught him the ways of God. It appears that Josiah was doing what he could to keep the temple in repair, but was unaware of the book of the law until it was found. And when it is, he is profoundly impacted. This is in 2 Kings chapter 22, starting in verse 1. It says Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 31 years. His mother's name was Jedidah, daughter of Adiah, and she was from Bozkath. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord and followed completely the ways of his father David, not turning aside to the right or the left. Skipping down to verse 11, after the book of the law has been found, it says, when the king heard the words of the book of the law, he tore his robes. He gave these orders to Hilkiah the priest, Ahikam, son of Shaphan, Akbor, son of Micaiah, Shaphan the secretary, and Asaiah the king's attendant. Go and inquire of the Lord for me and for the people and for all Judah about what is written in this book that has been found. Great is the Lord's anger that burns against us, because those who have gone before us have not obeyed the words of this book. They have not acted in accordance with all that is written there concerning us. So all of these people go out to speak to the prophet Huldah, who was the wife of Shallum, son of Tikvah, the son of Harhas, keeper of the wardrobe. She lived in Jerusalem in the new quarter. She said to them, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Tell the man who sent you to me, this is what the Lord says. I am going to bring disaster on this place and its people, according to everything written in the book of the king of Judah has read. Because they have forsaken me and burned incense to other gods and aroused my anger by all the idols their hands have made, my anger will burn against this place and will not be quenched. Tell the king of Judah who sent you to inquire of the Lord, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says concerning the word you heard. Because your heart was responsive and you humbled yourself before the Lord when you heard what I have spoken against this place and its people, that they would become a curse and be laid waste, and because you tore your robes and wept in my presence, I also have heard you, declares the Lord. Therefore, I will gather you to your ancestors, and you will be buried in peace. Your eyes will not see all the disaster I am going to bring on this place. So they took her answer back to the king. Huldah is not a name you hear very frequently, and she's not someone I was familiar with until recent years, but she is significant for a few reasons. First, she was one of few female prophets in the Bible. Deborah and Miriam are included in that list. Also, Hannah and Mary were prophetic in their songs. Second, she clearly was well respected at the time. If when the king sent for someone to inquire of the Lord for them, they went straight to her. And finally, she was unafraid to speak a scary truth to the king. Josiah, too, acted honorably. He renewed the covenant and he removed the places of idol worship. These women are typically not as well known. However, they acted with discernment and integrity at pivotal points in Israel. What will you have the courage to conceal or to make known in this season? Maybe you'll need to conceal news that you're excited about, or something that hasn't wrapped up yet, or a word from God that is not ready to be shared. Maybe you will need to make known a difficult truth, or set a boundary, or take a leap of faith. I will leave you with that question, and we'll talk again tomorrow.
Thank you for listening to The Bible for Busy People. If you need prayer or want to go deeper in your faith, visit our show notes. Will you take a moment to share with a friend and leave a review? It helps the Bible get into even more people's minds and hearts. Find more podcasts that will recharge you at purposely.com.